Okay.
And is it
Hyun, are you
Haten?
recording?
Is it Hatena?
Yeah, it's Hatena.
Hatena? Okay. I was gonna say I could potentially say that wrong also.
Oh, you wouldn't be the first. I don't normally care. You can call me shitface and I'll still respond.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Animacast. Today I have with me Hyun and Stone.
What's up,
Say
guys?
hi.
Hello. Good to be back.
Hello. What's up? Yes, good to be here for the very first time.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of people's first times.
Oh, well,
returning.
it's good to be
Yeah, a
just
return.
everyone else. Yes.
Yeah, this is like your third or fourth one, right, Hyun?
I think it's the third one, but I don't even know. I don't keep track.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hyun, the seasoned veteran.
Yeah.
I've been in all but like 2.
Attaboy. Well, you know
Nice.
what? You shoot for the stars. You can always do those other 2 some other time.
Yes,
Go
you'll
back
get-
and
you'll get
go
there
back,
someday.
edit
The
yourself.
ones that are already published,
Yes,
you can go back
go
and do
back,
those.
download them, edit yourself into the conversations with some yeah, no, actually, and then don't, and then you're in it. 100% success.
Oh, I actually kind of had to do that for someone. It was in one of the ones with
I remember.
Hyun. Yeah, it was with T-Bot because something messed up with his recording, so I had to completely redo his with this text-to-speech robot.
Isn't that
And I just had a bunch of fun with it.
Isn't this so much fun? All the things that on the other side of the fence people don't realize, and in the moment you feel so dumb having to do them, knowing that no one else in the world until now will know that information.
Yeah. I think I streamed it.
Okay,
I
you're
streamed
like,
some of the editing of that part, but yeah.
nice transparency. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So you're returning to the animation community.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes. Okay. So I'll give a little history first as to who I am, where I went, and why I'm coming
Yep.
back and how, and then now why it has become such a struggle for me to get back effectively. So my name is Travis Stone Steven. I was the owner and creator of FluidAnims.com, which we then transferred into StickPage.com, and I was moderating, administrating, and organizing StickPage for about 5 years until I then was let go, and I went to freelance for about 2 years, and I was trying to get a YouTube career going and get everything back and running, and I was contractually bound to not join or create any other Flash or animation communities. So that's why I was kind of trying to position myself in a way that I can generate content on YouTube. However, during this time, I was making $0 with many expenses in life, like you do. And I ended up finding my way into, believe it or not, selling Pokemon cards. I did so of my own private collection when I was a kid, to make a little bit money on the side. Then I started flipping them, and then fast forward, I now own a business with a brick and mortar comic book shop store where I do it regularly. I sell many different things: comics, games, trading cards, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and a lot of which are on my Twitch stream. But all of this was just in an effort to me to stabilize and come back. And about 6 months ago, I got to the point where I got my store built up to such a way where I did not have to do 110% of everything. So I had people to help me fulfill some of my daily duties to free up some time so that I can jump back in. So it was like a 3 to 4 year circle of me trying to dive back into the pool of the animation community. So when I did that about 6 months ago, I was so happy, so excited. I jumped on the Discord, which, believe it or not, I had been here for quite some time, just kind of lurking and looming around and keeping my eyes on things that are happening and kind of following all of the amazing people that I once hung out with so regularly in their journey in animation and in life. And I was excited to jump back in. I started to get into animating. I did some work with Alan Becker, working on his animation versus Minecraft series. And I was very closely getting to myself to being basically almost back to where I can spend, 6-ish hours a day on animation stuff when COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I had to then shut down my store, reformat everything. I lost my ability to have those who were taking care of my daily duties from me, and I had to transform what was some in-store sales and some online sales to 100% online sales. And since I didn't have the inventory, I was going through old boxes of just like bulk cards, and I was shipping orders that were where people were buying cards for 10 cents, 5 cents, 25 cents, sometimes $3, and I would just do 200 or 300 of those orders in a day and make just enough to continuously pay the bills at the store that is completely empty and shut down. So I did that for like the last 3 months of COVID. And of course they had like the riots and stuff that we had to, fortunately in our area there was no major riots, but I had to prepare for those kinds of things because you can't prepare for your business getting broken into while it's being broken into. That's poor planning. So there was a lot of those kind of things that just set back a lot of the time, allowing me to just sit down, be able to animate, be part of the community. And one thing I very much so want to do is to dive headfirst back in, because that's just kind of my personality. I like to go 110%, and I think it shows in a lot of the things that I was able to get done in the past, and that's just typically how I operate. So it's really difficult emotionally for me to kind of like just tip my toes in the water, as it were. Things are getting a little bit more normalized now, even with COVID, just because things shook up for a while, and now as things shifted, I'm slowly starting to free up some more time again, and so I'm climbing my way, kicking and screaming back into the animation community.
I think that seems to be like a reoccurring theme with your life, Stone, is that when things start to get a little bit good, just something horrible happens, and then it brings you back
I know,
down.
and you know what I should do? I should just keep it at this level so like the rest of the world can just enjoy their time. And I apologize for doing well for like 15 minutes, and I won't ever do it again, I promise.
Yeah, because like we've been talking.
It's all your fault.
Yeah, like we've been talking back and forth for a while on bringing you back into the Hyun's Dojo community, because those of you who don't know, I'm pretty sure a lot of people actually don't know who you are anymore. Especially the newer, younger generation.
That's sad.
I was surprised.
Like,
I was surprised how many people who did know.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, a lot of people still know, but then the people who don't know, Stone is like, he's pretty much like the Hyun of Hyun's Dojo before Hyun's Dojo, if that makes sense. So he's pretty much like my mentor when it comes to leading a community and just doing everything that I do today. So having Stone come back to my community, which is pretty much his community, is a huge deal for me, because Stone has like a certain energy and a certain mindset that I definitely don't have, and I feel like he's literally one of the missing keys of making our community like go further beyond than what it really is right now. And that includes not just the dojo, but like dojo duels, animate, and like all that kind of stuff, because we were talking about working together on animate as well, and he has a lot of really good ideas. So yeah, that's just a little perspective on Stone and why he actually matters. And it's not just random dude just coming back.
I can tell just in the first like few minutes before we started the podcast, like from the moment I started talking to him, you're really putting yourself out there, like, hey, this is what's going on, this is what I want to do, I've been really excited about this, which I was really happy to hear, by the way.
Yeah,
passion is everything, man.
Happy.
It is literally everything, especially if you're doing anything entrepreneurial in the realm of creating something. You have to be able to not only feel yourself through your passion for whatever it is you're trying to do, but have enough to spill out of you into those that could want to participate in whatever it is you have going on. And it helps that I think I just naturally don't have a filter whatsoever, and so having this like built up, pent up energy and passion for what I love to do, and having an outlet to even just get it out, is so important for me. And specifically in the animation world, it is so well received and is so well absorbed by so many that amazing things typically come from it. And everyone, like, if you go back to the core of where Fluid Anim started in my animation career and everything. I initially started off as a pioneer in animation in some lights. I was never typically like what would be considered one of the top animators when we were young and early on, but I was good. I was good enough, and I felt okay, right? But then I got to a point where I realized that that's not at all where my strength lies. My strength lied in my ability to create the environment to get very, very, very talented individuals inspired enough to be able to create something with a veracity that would inevitably end up in something completely unique. And that's a culmination of what all of Fluid Anims was, and a lot of the individuals that came out of it was really just everything I did was me just essentially putting a droplet in a bucket and the ripple effects just continuously going about. And I just want to be that droplet again, you know?
Yeah, dude.
I want to be able
man.
to come back to that. There's just a pool of talent out there, just a sea of endless things to be inspired from, and it's amazing to see the ripple effect. Even now, like, it's still going. Like the ripples of things that occurred from 10 years ago are still now. They're just waves and tsunamis the further out you go with all the things that people have done from that starting point. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like even if they haven't realized it, like even myself, like I wasn't massively impacted by you specifically, but the ripple that you had on many other creators definitely had an impact on me.
Right, and it's just it's so awesome to see. It's the future, and I talked to Hyun about this too. It's the future I wanted, but it didn't get there the way I thought it would.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. You know, I had this vision where we're at now for like the animation community, and seeing all these individuals doing so well in the animation field and in other fields that they kind of dabbled into, whether it be music, art, or whatever. It's what I wanted from everyone when I made the choices I made. Like in selling Fluid Anims over to Stick Page, I was hoping it was going to create those opportunities for everyone before I was able to present them from my own hands. And it got there. It just got there a different way than I envisioned, you know? Which is, I guess, in the end, the thing that's most important.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I know, like you see it in the way where we got there, but like, I feel like there's so much more that we can do. You know what I mean? Like, like we're here, but then I always think about what could have been, and like I don't know, just like what we have right now, but like times 100. You know. And that's still something that I want to see. So that's why I'm always excited when I talk to Stone and stuff about him coming back, because, you know, this is just like everything that we've seen up to this point is literally just like 5% of Stone's power. And then, you know, if he jumps back
this is
into
my
it,
final form.
yeah, it's going to literally just be his like final form. And that's like, I feel like that's what everyone's kind of waiting for. And
it honestly, I think everything happens for a reason, and I think the timing of everything is also going to be part of the reason why I had to drift away in the way that I did and the way that things panned out. Because if you look at the world today, things are getting shooken up in the entertainment realm of things. You're seeing animation platforms and different entertainment outlets that before were doing good and on the rise are growing at an increasingly insane exponential rate due to people's lifestyles changing. And so you have people who, you know, wouldn't spend a minute on YouTube before or on Twitch are spending hours a day on those platforms. And so the timing might be impeccable, because if you look at where you're at right now, you have your foundation and everything set so sturdy, so sturdy. We have a lot of different companies and stuff that are wanting to enter into this realm, and they're just getting their feet wet, beginning with the very basic steps, and you're already solidified in the animation community and YouTube and all these different platforms in this entertainment field. And if I'm able to come back at this moment, that might have been the wait that was necessary, you know, because if something big happens and occurs now, we're creating a similar bubble to that of what we saw in the growth of the internet going back to like 2007-ish to 2013. I think that was a huge turning. I know that's weird years, but That time frame, if you look back, prior to that, the internet wasn't. You didn't have fast internet for everyone.
Uh-oh.
Not everyone had a good phone that was on the internet, and the average person didn't access the internet for entertainment values. Then you start reaching into that realm in that time frame. People did. Phones started getting those capabilities. The younger generation that grew up on the internet was now getting older and expanding to a little bit younger generation. Like, hey, you should check these things out. Check out MySpace. Check out these other things. And so the average person started to come to the internet, and then YouTube start exploding because of it. And a lot of different those same entertainment things. And I think it slowed down over time because it kind of peaked out. But now you have this huge shakeup with COVID and everything else that's happening around the world that it's bringing even more people online versus whether it be online sales or streaming or creating their own content. Like everyone is putting their hopes and dreams and their downtime into the internet. So it's a very potentially creatively powerful time.
And like what you mentioned earlier about like Twitch skyrocketing because of COVID, and all this online the community is just growing because of that, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So one thing. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One thing. I'm sorry. I always end up doing this, dude. So one thing I was mentioning was like if you look at what I mean by things shaking up in the world. If you look at the entertainment field, movies specifically, and even sports, they went from a huge multi-billion-dollar industry, if not trillion potentially, to zero. It doesn't. There is movies aren't being made right now. If you fast forward 6 months from now, there's not going to be movies coming out. You know what I mean? Because they're not being developed now. The stuff we have coming out in new shows and stuff, most of them are just trickle overs because they were completed 6 months ago or 8 months ago or whatever. So all of those people now are entering into new mediums for their entertainment. You see a lot of celebrities and sports players who are now getting on Twitch. Which, if you went back a year ago, why would Superman or The Witcher, Henry Cavill, be thinking about putting together a gaming computer to start a Twitch channel? You'd be like, what are you doing? Film the next season of The Witcher. What? Hello?
Is he?
What are you? Shut up! Like, stop! Go! Like, you know what I mean? But now he has all this time. I'm noting someone specifically because that's one thing that's happening. But and I think that's happening all over. You're starting to see the very beginnings of that. And I think the world 6 months from now, the entertainment field, is going to be weird. And it's going to be weird because you're having all these big boys stepping into the average man's place. You know what I mean? Like Twitch and streaming and YouTube. That's like us. That's where we play around. That's where we roll around in the mud. And they always have these high-rise, big boy entertainment avenues, cable TV and theater and all these big things that they get to have that platform. But now that platform's taken away and they're going to be hanging out with us now. So it's just, and that's in turn, those eyes that watch those people on the big screen are going to be turned inward towards Twitch and YouTube and other streaming platforms like that. So, yeah.
Right. Then I didn't even know that. What was his name? Guy from
Henry
The
Cavill.
Witcher. Yeah, Henry Cavill. I didn't even
Cavill.
know he was. Was that a hypothetical or is that?
No,
actually...
that happened today. Like that happened today.
What?
Yeah, no, I'm not joking at all. Actually, okay, I'm going to let you guys in a little bit of a secret. So, things have been stabilizing with me somewhat because I once again evolved into something else. So because we have some of these people trying to enter into the stream realm, and because I owned a comic book store and my buddy writes comic books for a living, he, in turn, one of his comic books is being turned into a movie, and he had some famous individuals, voice actors, who got the part, essentially, in working on his comic turned into a show. And in turn, I then got to speak with them. And long story short, I'm going to be setting up as a Twitch manager for Sean Schemmel, which is Goku. Goku.
Yeah, the voice actor for Goku.
Yes.
Voice actor for
Goku. Goku. Yes.
Damn.
Yes. So I'm
crazy.
Partnering with Goku, if I can do it in quotations, because Sean Schemmel is an amazingly talented guy, and he's done so many voices a lot that you wouldn't even believe. Like the new Rise from League of Legends. Let's go, let's go, let's go. That's Goku. That's Sean. He did King Kai. He did the whole Ginyu Force. He's done a million of other things. But I'm gonna be I'm working with him and getting his stream set up to start streaming. So cool. And that's just one small example. And all of this is also getting other people excited and other people he knows that are now wanting to entering the realm as well. So he's like, well, when you're done with him, then you can play with him. But I'm not done playing with him. But
he's my Goku.
Exactly. But yeah, and I think that I'm just one very small cog in a lot of other things that are moving forward in that avenue. And again, all of it is just so I can loop back into drawing stick figures, man.
Dude,
so bad.
It all comes back.
Wow.
It all comes back.
It's full circle. And I've just been picking up new skill sets as I move along. Yeah, that's a little bit of a spoiler. I've been letting some people know that I have that going on because some of you, I've reached out for different things that to help kind of that process move forward. But it's very exciting, and again, I just think that you're going to start seeing a lot more of that. I don't think I'm an anomaly, and I've already been seeing it. Like I saw last week that one of the voices of from the Pokemon show, Jessie, she was streaming. She was streaming the Pokemon game. So, yeah. So I just think keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled because when a place like Twitch posts, okay, we just got 4 billion hours watched last month, and in comparison, that's a 407% increase from last year this time. Some people lean back in their chairs and their eyes open a little bit, and then they dig a little bit and they realize, oh wow, this kid named Ninja made $1 million a month doing this. Hello, and then they look at their schedule and it just says like fart until noon every day. They're like, let's do this. I can have blue hair. Let's go.
Let's all get blue hair.
Let's all get blue hair. Just turn the camera on, dude. I think that's probably 90% of the job. It has to be, right? No, but
no.
Yeah.
God. It's an interesting time to be a part of social media, online social media.
Yes.
There's just so much happening. Like just recently, didn't like a bunch of verified Twitter accounts get hacked?
I think
I'm under the impression that. Yeah, I was gonna say I was under the impression that happens like every other week.
Well, I think it was like. I don't know too much about it. I probably shouldn't talk about it, but I've heard a lot of like big accounts like Barack Obama and Mr. Beast and
really?
All kinds of people were getting hacked and forced to say something about some Bitcoin scam or.
Oh, that's a big yikes. That's scary.
Yeah.
It's scarier when a hacker does something like that than it is just like
very malicious.
Posting like dick pics or something. Because like if they get like if they hack your account and it's just like stupid crap, you're like, okay, this is annoying. Hey guys, obviously I was hacked. Like I didn't put this dumb like. But if they put stuff that's like relatively believable, you're like, maybe you have no way they got hacked. That is the actual scary hacking. That was a hack by someone who knew what they were doing.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta watch the phishing emails, scam emails, two-factor authorization. You gotta have all those these days, or else it's pretty much guaranteed you're gonna get hacked. So just for the viewers,
some people just don't have anything else to do with their time, so they decide to funk with everyone else.
That's a lot of people
like
right
acceptable.
now. Don't be a fool, dude.
Especially because so many people, they just don't have anything to do with, either quarantine or just. Self-isolation, whatever they be doing.
Whatever they be doing.
Or maybe this is their normal life and they have more of an outlet now that these platforms have even more activity.
Exactly, and it's a combination of both, truthfully.
Right. There's more of those people, and then there's also more victims to choose from.
Yes, exactly. And there's also more influence in doing something like that because all of those other factors are still putting in play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're already like 20-something minutes into this, and we've just barely skim the surface of like the first topic or two.
Yeah, I tend to do that. You'll have to.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. I can tell you've been thinking about all this for a while, man.
Yes.
You got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah. So what's next?
But yeah, the next subject was about collabs that are going on recently, and I think the most obvious one to talk about is Doors 5.
Doors 5.
And I don't know any of the new news about it other than that it's like 2 hours long that I heard from the trailer. I have no idea when it's releasing.
Yeah, I can.
Is there anything you wanted?
On
Yeah,
the
please.
situation, because Pluto does live with me now, so
Yes.
He's a part of in-house now, right?
The update right now is, yes, the collab is over 2 hours long, and there's, I don't even know how many parts, but wait, I think it's over 1,000.
500.
Too many.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Too many.
2 hours is going to be a lot of parts, regardless.
Yeah. And I think the main thing that we're doing right now is just adding sound effects to the parts that didn't have sounds but are still pretty good. So it'd be a waste not to put them into the collab.
Right.
So I'm adding sounds to some of those parts, and then we're still working on the ending for the collab, so to speak.
I'm curious.
So yeah, I think yeah. What was it?
How many unicorns does it take to export that file?
I mean, like it took the whole day to just export a test to Pluto to give to me for sound, so it might take.
That seems about right. Yep.
Was that is that like just in like 480p or something?
Yeah.
Something just barely doable.
It's 8-bit
God,
only.
that rendering time for the final
it's
final
just like a
product
tiny-
is gonna take like a week.
It's not even 8-bit. It's just two colors. You just get two colored squares back and
It's
forth.
like
on
this
the
is what
screen.
you have to work with. Good luck.
Good luck. It's just a black square on one side and a blue square on the other. People are gonna lose their minds as it blinks. Count it.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's still coming along. I think the release date is still not official, but it should be sometime this month or maybe the beginning of next month. We're not so sure, but we'll see. And then Pluto's been talking about also doing a documentary about our community and just like stick figures in general, like the stick figure community afterwards.
What?
That'd be really
Yeah.
cool.
That's dope.
And
There's so much. There's so
Man,
much.
I'd love to see that, but I'd also love to be a part of that if that's possible.
Oh yeah, for
That
sure.
sounds hella interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be flying Pluto out to actually like legit interview people like Stone and some of the older members. And
Oh, that
we're
would be dope.
like he's trying to make it on the level of like the Smash documentary, which was really successful and pretty much like,
Oh, I have yet to actually see that one,
yeah,
but I've heard it's really good.
yeah, it pretty much put Smash in like the spotlight or Melee at least.
Or it gave it at least a lot more attention. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, that's coming up as well. And what other collabs we have going on?
I think one of the more hyped ones that I've heard recently coming around is the Osu collab from Taro.
Yeah, I made a part.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, you did. I made two. Haha.
You made two? Dang.
I did. I'm
Alright.
a lot less proud of the first one, but
Yeah,
The-
Osu
the-
collab,
like the-
and we also got Hatena's collab.
whoa, who?
Whoa.
Who's that nerd?
Wow.
Stuntman
Whoa.
collab.
This stuntman collab has been surprisingly. It's been going surprisingly well. Like over 700 people have joined the server for it, but I've been getting like
Wow,
parts up the wazoo.
that's good.
I feel similar in fashion to Doors 5, but not nearly quite as many parts.
Literally,
Yeah,
all I
man.
can
I mean-
imagine, all that comes to mind when I think of that, like being Pluto receiving those parts. If you can think back to that old meme of the girl just getting hit in the face with a bunch of hot dogs.
What? What are
You've
you
never seen
talking
that?
about?
This might be too old.
Oh,
to
I
yeah,
be
don't
yeah,
think.
yeah. Okay,
Please
I know what
ring
you
some bells for me.
Okay,
I know what you
hold
mean.
on. This has got to this will have some visual context for you. I have to find it, but basically it's just like Okay, you get it here. Hold on. This is important. I promise. I don't know. I don't know where this is coming from. So
it looks better than it sounds.
It does. It does. But it's like.
Hold up.
It's like It's like you've never seen this.
Never seen that.
Okay, it's just like the old school the girl seeking attention meme. Like, okay, I see what you're doing. Like, you're just posting this, but this is like Pluto and the parts he's getting for doors.
Okay, I see the connection. I'll try and put that on screen right now for YouTube viewers.
It's accurate. It's accurate.
Hot dog girl gif. That's all you need to do, but do not scroll too far.
Guys,
I haven't verified the rest, but at least the first page is clean.
Oh no.
Oh
Wow.
no! Oh no!
okay, well,
Yeah.
turn.
Moving on.
Neum.
Yeah. So now to a far lighter subject, Corona.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh yes. Hundreds of thousands of people
Oh
dying.
yeah.
out of the frying pan into another frying pan.
Yep. This is it's hot. It's 110 today, so let's just keep it cooking.
Yeah.
Right. How has it? I know how it's been affecting you, Stone.
Yeah.
I think you and I were talking about this a little earlier, Hyun, but like I kind of want to get the full scope. Like, how's it been for you? So with this extended time. Hello?
Did I get
I
disconnected?
think I might.
No.
Hello? Oh, okay,
Hi,
I think
Eric.
I disconnected for a second.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
But where was I?
COVID. How has it been affecting Hyun?
oh,
Yeah,
me. I thought you
yeah.
were talking to Stone.
No.
Well, we already know how we know how
Oh,
it affected him.
I was
but-
waiting for Stone.
and,
I thought
we were
Stone
yeah.
disconnected, but okay, you guys are
Yeah.
just waiting for me to say something. Okay.
It's
Got him.
right.
All right. Well, I think for me, it hasn't affected me that much because I am originally a shut-in, so I never go outside besides groceries. So for me, it's it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and most of our business is online as well. So I feel like I was lucky when it came to Corona because it
We
didn't
live that Corona
really.
life.
Yeah, I
it
was
didn't
living the
impact
Corona
you nearly as
life
much.
already.
Yeah.
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 You practiced quarantine before it was cool.
I gotta say, I was quite literally like so pissed that I had a store during this. I was like, God, oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
I was like, if I didn't have to do any of this, I would just be like, oh yeah, like, you mean I don't have to go outside and people can't come over to my house and bother me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That's like that is my dream job well, of course, to be like a YouTuber or
Yeah.
at least have some kind of online success to the point that I can be financially stable through it. But as of now, like I still have a very physically active job,
Yeah.
to like full time Monday through Friday,
Yeah. So
and it's
that really sucks for especially for people that have to go out to sustain themselves, and the government hasn't really been helping the people as they say they are, because literally they just throw $1,000 at you and then they expect you to live for like 4 months.
say good luck.
Yeah. And think about places
Here's
like that's
$1,000. Good luck.
that's a base level price too, because like in like Kansas they might have been like, oh yeah, but like in San Francisco they're like, okay, why? What? Don't even
Yeah.
bother. Like, hello?
That doesn't-
like my
that
rent's
doesn't even
$4,000. I live in a
cover
1-bedroom
food.
studio. Yeah, like what?
So it's like for me, what I've been experiencing is that like everyone around me is like suffering, which really kind of sucks to hear about as well, and especially my family members, because I know my mom and my dad have been struggling a lot, so I've been trying to help them with money, and even my siblings, one of them lost their jobs in the not the medical field, but like in another job. And I have another family member that's in the medical field, so he's suffering in a whole entire differently way, where he's
Right.
freaking
Super stressful.
He has to actually actively
he's
be
treating
the problem itself.
Yeah, and then a lot of other things, like people in their workplaces getting corona, and then they're having to get tested, and everyone's just like freaked out, and And not only that, since it's lasting for so long, everyone's just getting desensitized to it, and they're just getting tired of it, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that just brings the whole vibe down of just everybody, which really sucks. So, you know, in these trying times, I feel like we just gotta stick together and just try to make the best of it, you know?
Yeah, and I will admit I was I was listening to the radio sometime this week, and they were talking about the people who don't wear masks all the time.
Oh my god!
When they're out in public and calling them mask holes.
Oh my god!
And I admittedly am one of the mask holes, but I've been trying to fix that recently. I've been trying to take it more seriously because I realize like this is gonna keep going if some of us think that we're completely exempt from it when we could be the sole problem of it.
There's so many. There's so much misinformation with people understanding, especially the mask subject. So one thing you have to know about me, first of all, I have general anxiety disorder, which means that I worry about nothing for no reason all the time. And one of those things that I would worry about was my own health. And this started when I was very, very young. And so when some of this stuff started coming about, I was like, oh, I'm basically a professional in infectious disease, and I understand where this could be heading. And so I started taking these steps way before they were mandated or even discussed, because I was like for instance, when they said, okay, it has a 2-week incubation period, I immediately was like, well, closing store, shoof. Before people were like, what do you mean closing store? And I'm like, 2-week incubation while infectious, and they're all, and I'm like, that means everyone in this room could be infected right now, and there's no way for us to know until 2 weeks from now when we're all sick and it doesn't matter. And they're all, oh. And I was like, so what's going to happen is businesses need to close, schools need to close, and you need to reduce your outdoor activities around other people. And when it comes to the masks portions of it, people think you're wearing a mask to help reduce the particles of the disease, because it is airborne in the larger particles, coming into your system, which is entirely false. What it does is, if you are the person that is an asymptomatic carrier, or you're within your 5 to 7 infectious yet not showing any symptoms time frame, your particles from your breath and your nose and everything else that exports out of your face is held within 3 to 5 inches of your face for the large particles, and that's what gets people sick. But if you do not wear a mask and your particles go out, they can hover up to 6 feet and stay in the air in an uncirculated room for 10 minutes. So, it's kind of like how the flu shot works. If everyone in the world got the flu shot, and let's just say that it's 100% effective, but everyone in the world got the flu shot, then no one gets the flu, because it can't go from one carrier to the next. If you're wearing a mask, your particles aren't going out, and if everyone else is wearing a mask, their particles aren't going out. So the only way you're going to catch it is by licking doorknobs. So as long as you wash your hands, you'll be fine. You know what I mean? And that's how you see all these other countries where collectively the society was like, hey, this is how it is, this is how we solve it, and they go, uh-huh, and then they just did it, and it was amazing. And guess what? 2 full cycles of infection for COVID, which is the 2 weeks that they require. They did that, and their curve flattened and went straight down. And you're seeing places with far, 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 far less cases per day, 100 cases a day, 200 cases a day. I've been tracking this and keeping a journal on it, and the height of the United States as a society for people actually caring about COVID was when we were getting 3,000 cases a day. That was when the average, and I kept track of this, like the overall feel as far as like socially people felt about the disease was about 3,000 cases a day. We had spiked. We went from like 500 to 1,000, then 1,500 to 3,000. And on that day, everyone was like, oh my God, we need to do what we need to do. But then not everyone did. And then it went to 5,000, 6,000. And I said by the end of this month, we're looking at 100,000 cases a day. And today we're at 73,000 cases a day. And no one cares as a whole. The society cares less at 73,000 cases a day than they did at 3,000 cases a day. And that's why it's a major problem in the United States. And of course, the uproar of like, we don't want to wear our masks comes from systemically not understanding why you should wear a mask.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so
it's tough, dude. And it's going to be tough heading into next month most likely, because the thing is people are like, well, how come the deaths aren't going up? It's got to be a hoax, right? This is all false. Like, you don't just test positive and then die. Hello? You're like, you're positive and you're just like, oh God, and just like fall on the floor. No, it takes like 3 weeks to a month for a lot of people, even if you're waiting to get tested and it comes back positive. So it's going to be things rising and looking scary towards the end of next month. So realistically, things probably won't start to change as far as like people as a whole trying to make the better choice and stay home, wash your hands, put a mask on if you have to go out, probably into end of August into September, unfortunately, because then the numbers and deaths will be high enough again to where I think as a society in the United States, people will go back to that 3,000 cases a day freak out where people care about it again.
Right.
Maths. Quick maths. Sad maths. Sad maths.
Quite a bit to take in, man.
Yeah.
But it's serious.
It's so serious.
Wear a mask,
It's
please.
Yeah.
Please,
it's really not hard. It's really not hard. And that whole theory behind like, oh, people are getting carbon monoxide or carbon poisoning from their own breath is super, super false. Mm-hmm. Not even debatable. It's super false. You have medical professionals that wear 3 masks, N95s, plus face coverings, plus all this stuff on top of that for 8 to 10 hours a day for their entire careers and still holding 100% oxygen retention. And there's very, very circumstances outside of maybe some chemo patients that have a genuine struggle of oxygen levels while breathing through a mask. So please, wear a mask. It's not.
All right, should we move on to the next subject?
Yes. Yes.
This is going on for...
I'm successfully saddened. Let's move on.
You're welcome. I'm bowing.
Try and move on. All right.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Do you have big plans for Dojo Duels in the land of Sierra? I know recently you did a Q&A live stream for it.
We did, and it was very successful in my opinion. We had a lot of people asking questions, people interested, and I think that's the overall goal that I had with Dojo Duels, especially the lore that we're creating for it. And I think the main thing that we're doing is this little mini series called Tour Around Sierra. And that is basically, I mean, if you see it on the Hyun's Dojo YouTube channel, there's a playlist, and it's basically, 1 or 2 minute little snippets of video of each region in Sierra, which is like, it's kind of like the RPG world that we set up for Dojo Duels. And it has like a really, chocolatey voiced narrator, Wolven Rain, just kind of reading over each region, and then it has community made fan art, and just like we're trying our best to get people immersed into the Sierra lore and Dojo Duels lore so they can get interested in it. And then with interest comes, I feel, well, in my opinion, like, more creative characters with backstories, like a narrative for Dojo Duels, and not just 2 stick figures just fighting it out in a line background, and it's cool. It's like it's more trying to push people into making a story, which I think is really interesting, especially if you look at Gilded Guy, Turquoise from back in the day. He had like a story driven series for RSG. And speaking of RSG and Stone being here, we were also talking about stuff like maybe rebooting RSG into the Dojo Duels lore and stuff like that to just kind of bring it full circle, because honestly, Dojo Duels is stemmed off of RSG. I mean, no one's going to question that.
Right. It's more of like a lore specific RSG.
Yeah. Really. Yeah. So RSG back in the day was just a system of 2 animators fighting, and then community vote, and then the winner wins essentially, and that's about it. But this RSG, in a sense, we're trying to implement it into a story, or a timeline, or just lore essentially, and I think that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, that's still something in the works. So that's pretty much a general sense of the direction that we're trying to go for. Is we want to spike interest for stories.
And to touch upon that a little bit further too, the reason why that's so important and the reason why RSG had the success it did have was that anytime a character was animated by anybody, even from a different perspective, it kind of slowly built a history and a lore for that character. I want to give you that for let me give you a specific example. So if you have Tarantula, right? If you guys remember Tarantula, it was a battle that Turquoise did with Alpha against Tarantula. Now the animator for Tarantula very rarely animated his REC character whatsoever. However, Phil did an amazing job animating Tarantula, and because of that, that character continued to thrive and move on, even long since that animator has long since even departed from the community entirely.
Sure,
Years and years, these characters still transcend time because people begin to identify with them and then create their own stories using those characters, and it starts to build this whole wonderful world stemmed from that one point. So you have these circles and bubbles of characters that kind of exist in this one universe, even though they don't overlap with each other. And I think what Sierra's going to be able to do is kind to push those bubbles together to overlap them so that not only their characters continue to thrive and essentially delve into being immortal as time goes on, and to have other people grow with these characters and have fun playing with them in their mind as far as where they could go and what they could do with them and fan art and all these other wonderful different things. But they also can tie together in each other's stories, even if the animations aren't in a linear path. Meaning, like, if animator A is animating part one of the series and animator B is animating part one of their series, even though both animations don't correspond, but they are existing within the same universe and have some of the same underlying ground rules as far as, like, okay, these are regions you can come from, these are different backgrounds that might be interesting to flavor into your character, then anything that either animator A or B do with their part one of their series still builds the lore and the universe for Sierra as a whole, outside of the framework that you guys are laying down, which is, I think, that is what my envision was for REC going way back. 2006, 2007, even 2005, I think, is when I initially launched RHG. I'm old. But even back then, I was thinking, I'm like, wow, imagine if in the future people make these characters and it kind of just runs away from them, And if you use Turquoise's Alpha is a prime example of that. If you look at the art and animation that is out there for Alpha, Phil has probably only touched 10% of it himself.
Yeah, there's so many characters.
I think it's incredible. And that is the power of influence, and that is the power of that one droplet in a bucket of water, the endless bucket or ocean of water, and just creating lifelong, lasting ripples that turn into tsunamis over time.
I think that's one of the most inspiring things to me as a creator is when you can completely separate entity almost.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's so humbling, and it's so, like, I've seen it now and coming back and keep my finger on the pulse on different things, and I found a group of people on Twitter across the world that regularly take and redraw RHG characters in different environments, playing around with each other, doing various different things at an amazing art level quality, and they even created like an online tarot card thing, and it's a whole rabbit hole of things. I just kept like leaning closer and closer to my screen, like, I cannot believe this, And it's so incredible. Like, it was so humbling and so awesome. I reached out and had one of them design for me an Andre, because I not only wanted to support them and what they're doing, but I wanted to also update and see what it would like if he came back to life. Like, if he came to today, how would I want to see Andre? And I actually think that they did an amazing job nailing this, and I'm going to actually send you the photo real quick. so you can toss it up if that's a thing. But this is what they came up with, and I just said, "Here's Andre. I'm, believe it or not, and the owner, the creator of Andre. I know that might sound weird. I'm Stone, who created RHG, and their English was translated, so I'm not entirely sure if they grasped all of what I said entirely, but they were super excited, and I love with what they came up with, and I think it's really neat. So and I posted it there. Yeah. Oh, it's interesting. It's interesting to me that my idea when I'm 15, 16 years old, fast forward to when I'm almost 30, and I'm looking at this now, created by someone else, like, it blows my mind.
You see,
right, I'm gonna display some of the art that I've found, and some of the art that they're showing me right now. And Stone, if you the Twitter user or wherever you got the image,
let me
so
see.
I can credit them. Yeah. That I've seen over these past few years that I've been in this community, and I joined relatively recently compared to the both of you. Like, I've only been doing this for like 5 years. So, like,
yeah, it's crazy because it just starts from something that we like doing, and then we never expect it to become like its own
more
thing.
than that. Yeah,
right. Like, we have a dream of it getting to some point like that, but we don't hold that expectation to be realistic. But then somehow it happens.
Yeah.
Right, and it becomes immortal in that sense. You know, once it's out of your hands, it transcends your own self, and if it transcends yourself, it could be potentially endless. You know, like, I myself haven't animated Andre, my own character, in probably 10 years. But he's drawn by hundreds of people daily across the world. It melts my brain.
It's crazy.
That's the Twitter handle for the person who did the commission for. And they do commissions, as far as I know, regularly for RHG characters or other characters that you might be interested in. So, and I'm not giving them enough credit. Their English was definitely on point and definitely more than capable of holding conversation with. I think it's just our time zones were bad. It was kind of like I would message and say like a paragraph of things and say a paragraph response later, so it wasn't too much of a talking back and forth. But you should check them out, and that's just one individual of many individuals in this. Like, I think it's like a group of an online community somewhere that that's what they do. Like, look at this! I just found one here. This is just scrolling through something they did, and this involves Eric now, or Hyun. This is just something one of them did. Yeah.
So cute.
Right? And
God, and
all this stuff
that's
all over the
classic
place.
RHG.
Yep.
Damn, it surprises me how long some of these, like, just the impact that these characters have had on some artists is incredible to me. How it's rippled for so long.
Yeah,
that's the power of it.
I still wanna push that, that inspiration that other people get from these like simple animations that we do just for fun. I think we can still push it, and like one of my long-term goals is even to have like an official animated series based on Dojo Duels and all that kind of stuff. So it's just it's so cool to see, man. It's like good vibes all around, and I feel like people just want to see more, and then it makes me just want to make more.
They're hungry for it. Like, it's like there's like a landlock of time, and this is just, it feels like to some degree what they're doing to pass time until the next thing hits.
Yeah.
Right. And there's clearly an audience for this, for something a lot bigger. I think a TV show could do pretty well.
Honestly, when you pitch that
if
TV
it gets
show,
to that point.
when you pitch that TV show is after the community documentary comes out.
Ooh,
that would be
Straight up.
perfect timing. That'd be the moment.
Yep. Because then people are like, wow, that's super interesting. And now I have like the full scope and picture of it, and I'm voracious for more. And you're like, hey, TV show place. Guess what? You see that? That's cool, huh? Isn't that so great? Wow, yeah. Wow. That's the life I live. You want some?
Would you prefer? Whoa. Word. Would you rather prefer a TV show or a movie though?
That's a fine question. I guess
go either way.
it could go either way. If it's me personally, I probably want a show because my story in my mind and how I see things never ends, and so I would want it that very same thing.
It can go far longer than like 1 or 2 hours.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I could like as the community of individuals who have been inspired by RHG have shown time and time again, it can continue to evolve and expand nearly endlessly. So to put that into a movie is kind of like what they did with Avatar: The Last Airbender when they tried to slaughter it into one film. We all know how wonderful that came out, right? And if you watch the animated series and then you watch the movie just made you grit your teeth and grab something the whole time. You're like, what do you mean they're already at the next area? There's oh my god, you're skipping you suck. Like you hate it so much, and I think that's kind of how what a movie potentially, unless the movie was like really concise and only one person's story, and it's kind of like ends up being like a Marvel thing where it's like, okay, here's another superhero, here's another hero, here, you know what I mean? Like they have movies where they come together, and they have movies where it's like a spin-off of just that individual and their struggles. So that's, I guess, but either way it'd be endless. It'd be a movie, but then it would be spin-off movies forever, or a show with endless seasons potential.
Right. I think an important question to ask at that point is, would people think that a stick figure animated TV show or film would be acceptable compared to other forms of like other styles or other forms of animation? Like if stick figures in a way would kind of do you think you'd have to make it kind of full body or live action or just differently animated if it were to turn into something bigger than just this internet phenomenon?
Yeah, but for me, I feel like it's perfectly acceptable if done the right way.
Great.
I know a lot of people. I think the biggest complaint about a stick figure animation is that you can't see their expressions. So there would have to be some kind of, at least some kind of facial designs or expressions that you need to show. But other than that, like the concept of the stick figure, I feel like is totally acceptable because it's something that's very different. Like you don't really see a stick figure made professionally anywhere except that one Netflix series that has that stick figure dude in it. I forgot what it was called. Do you guys remember?
Wait, what?
There's like this Netflix anime, and it has like the main protagonist is like a stick figure. It looks really weird. I forgot what it was called. I need to.
I'm learning so much today.
I need to find it, but like,
I think the power in stick figures is what they lack. People, the easiest thing is to be like, well, how do you show this and that? And that's the power of it. Anything that a stick figure does is so very clearly understood because a lot of the extra details, which can sometimes cloud, not always, but sometimes cloud the message and what could be happening in a scene, it becomes abundantly clear visually, which is why we're able to do such crazy, insane things that aren't visually clear, and it pleases the brain and your eyes because some of the other details are also freeing up your brain to be open to such things occurring on screen. If that makes any sense whatsoever. There's a reason. Okay, let's put it this way. There's a reason why we use stick figures when showing clarity on important danger signs.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Because they're very simple.
Man be electrocute. You touch, you die. This electrocute bad. Fire hot. Like it's stick figures. They're like, you need to understand this message wholeheartedly and don't let anything else distract you from it. Stick figure.
also,
I feel like going.
oh sorry.
No, you can go first.
Also, saves money on production. You don't have to worry about
Absolutely.
complicated clothings or anatomy or whatever. Like
You just focus on whatever the scene is about. What are you trying to convey?
Yeah.
Right. Going back to the expressions and faces and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think you could even do a show without any of that, because I think the best example by far would be Alan Becker, because he has been
Yes.
extremely
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
stick figure animation series, whether it be his animator versus animation, Minecraft versus
Yeah.
he's cracked like a formula.
Absolutely.
I feel like he's in a way pioneered, inspiring and
For sure.
in a way that helps
absolutely
build
nails it.
character without having dialogue and,
Yep.
and facial expressions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. If and honestly, you could take his animation versus Minecraft shorts season 1, and it's already as long as it is right now, which is hold on, I believe it's over an hour for just the first season, right? It's an hour and 20 minutes. That in itself is already a film. It's also linear, and it has 63 million or 60, almost 64 million views right now on YouTube. If that right there isn't the best pitch for something being stick figure to being a show, I don't know what else could be. Truthfully,
Yeah.
because you're seeing something. I mean, 64 million people. I can promise you, there's movies from full-fledged studios on Netflix right now with less than half that amount of streams on Netflix. I could confidently say that. So it's more than doable. It's being done. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
You know?
And going
That's
off
proof
of
right there.
Going off of Alan Becker's, faceless stick figures techniques, I think that's like a really good example of how you can, it's still possible to show emotions without faces, because you have the whole body and gestures and body language that you can show. Even without dialogue, you can tell a story. And like a lot of really talented animators have done this before as well. Like, you know the really old cartoon, The Dot and the Line by Chuck Jones?
Yes.
Basically,
I don't recognize it, but
yeah, it's a really iconic film, because it's literally a dot and a line, but then the way Chuck Jones actually directs that cartoon is just through gesture and making these really simple shapes just act based on squash and stretch and like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely 100% possible to show emotions with just stick figures.
Yeah.
Not impossible.
yeah. All right, before we stretch this subject out for a little longer, we still have a few more things that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Whoop, sorry?
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay. Animate. We've already talked about this several times on this podcast, but
Yeah.
elements that have been made.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the main things that we changed with Animate is the payment model or the subscription feature. So now, before it was like you would become a subscriber and then you can support up to like 10 animators or something. But now we actually got rid of that entire thing. It's now if you're a subscriber and if you're following somebody, then part of your subscription revenue goes to everyone that you're following now. So
Oh,
that's essentially like
Interesting. That's really cool.
it's something that we haven't seen anywhere, but I feel like it could be I feel like it has potential, because you're not making that step to support just one individual with all of your money. It's like if you just like someone and if you're a subscriber, you're automatically just supporting them, and then they make some revenue on the side. So yeah, that's something that we changed, and I feel like something that needs testing and adjustment, but I feel like it's going to be for the better, especially once we start growing subscribers and all that.
I have
And
a
the
question.
next big thing is Oh yeah, sorry. Did you want to add something, Storm?
So yeah, I have actually a question for that. That might be a question for some of the viewers in that same light.
Yeah.
Do you have a limit to how many people you can quote unquote subscribe and like to that your funds are divvying up to?
There is no limit. So we actually got rid of the limit.
But so like you can limit.
So there was a limit.
So
what was that?
So there was a limit before.
There was a limit before to 10,
okay.
And then you had to actively choose to support them. So there's a follow system, and then there was a support system. But
gotcha.
then
and they're one.
Yeah, we literally just simplified it to it's whoever you're following, your funds get split up into them.
Okay.
And
that's interesting.
And then
I think that's really cool.
Yeah. So the funds pretty much gets divvied up into like a point system, and then that point system gets transferred into currency or U.S. currency.
Oh, that's nice. That was the next part. I was like, damn, the tracking on that is going to be yuck. But if you transfer them into points, and you're just awarding those points to whatever people, when they go to pay out, you just pay out based on points. That's so nice. Chuck E. Cheese business model.
And then the other big thing that we're constantly trying to improve is the theater. I know I've talked about it before, and we've had a few test streams on it, but we're still actively trying to improve on it and trying to make it like a thing where, people can have big debuts of really cool animations, and people can just get together and watch it together live, support the animator, just have fun together, with like a bunch of emojis and animations, stuff like that. And I think Stone had a bigger overall kind of vision of that as well, of how the theater is going to work in the long term.
Yeah. I think that the theater is going to be very, 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 very exciting in the future here, especially like as things move forward. It's going to just be, I'm going to hang out there for sure, and you should too.
Yeah, we have a lot of ideas, but then it's limited dev time to actually make those happen. So we're trying to balance out our times. But yeah, that's about it for anime.
All right. So we can kind of loop that into Gilded Guys event, right?
Yes.
You guys did some like, I don't know what to call it.
It was like a I don't even. It was like a debut, I guess, a debut animation.
Yeah, a debut. That's the word. You did like a debut plan with Gilded Guy for his Gilded Guy versus Oxob.
Yeah, and that was in a sense like the very beginnings of the theater, so it still was pretty buggy, and I know it froze up the entire website because there's like 2,000 people like refreshing a single page trying to get that video to play, but we fixed those problems. You can get 2,000 people on a page, or I don't even know how many people, like 5,000, 10,000 people on that page, and it won't lag anymore or make the site crash. So we've done a lot of quality of life and behind the scenes kind of fixing. So not a lot of people will actually notice, but basically just trying to make it work essentially and scale properly.
Nice. All right.
What's next?
Well, how are we all feeling so far?
I'm good.
Pretty good.
This has been one of the longer ones.
I'm sorry. I am to blame wholeheartedly.
No, it's great. Like, this has probably been one of my favorite recordings.
Oh, well, I'm glad.
Oh, that's what you always say.
I got him, dude.
Well, I don't want to
Don't give away his trade secrets, man. Come on.
I'll just start saying that at the near the end of every session.
And they're like, wow, this just keeps getting better.
Make
so
everyone
good.
feel
this
special.
time.
Episode 375. This is legit my favorite episode I've ever done. Everything before this, trash. This episode, amazing. We'll see you next time on the next episode when the next episode is better.
No, it's just I've learned a lot more than I thought I would. A lot more than I bargained.
Yeah.
I didn't sign up for this.
I have a lot more to look forward to.
That's good.
Like that I had no clue about.
It's freaking Stone, man.
But I guess-
This is what I'm just
Yeah, dude.
trying to tell people, man. Like freaking Stone brings the energy, and he just makes everyone hyped, and he just makes me hyped.
Can I be honest?
Yes.
Can I be 100% honest?
Please?
Yeah.
I didn't really follow you, Stone, pretty much at all for like until like a few months ago when I heard you started to get back into the community. I had no idea you were the founder of Fluid Anims.
That's what I'm
Until
saying.
right now? Like until right now?
Until the very moment you said it in the beginning of this podcast. I had no
oh, me
clue.
boy. Yeah, that's me. Hello. Hi.
That's what I'm saying.
Again,
man.
more than I bargained for.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I don't take any offense to that whatsoever. If there's even a single person, even outside of Hyun, that still knows who I am, I'm amazed and humbled every single day. Because on internet terms, a year is a lifetime. Like, it's so long.
Oh,
and so
yeah,
to be
yeah.
gone from a very
Yeah.
particular community for years is generations and generations of other and fresh blood and new animators that have since even I've been gone long enough for people to have joined for the first time, become a known name, and leave. Like that, 3 years
Yeah.
span, 3 or 4 years span of time is a long time when you're looking at those, at that kind of span of things. So, yeah, I'm still shocked. Like if I come in and I pop into a stream or something, I'm like, "What's up?" Like I just like the other day I went and showed some love to Gilda guy who was streaming, and some people were like, "What? That's Stone?" I'm like, "Who the hell? Like, yeah, what's up, man? Like I don't know how you could possibly know me. Like unless you have dug into a rabbit hole, of looking up information on like the source of things. It would be pretty difficult to truthfully find me. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
There's very few people that actually know the full history behind our community, which is why I feel like the documentary is going to be really important.
And there's so many interesting things, man. Like there's so many weird things that you would never imagine. Like some of the guys that used to inspire me, like Rob Dembleicher, he had an animation series, and it's totally blanking in my brain right now. But he was popular in the stick figure world when I got started, which was a very primitive, back then. And he was one of the few people that was putting out something that was like, wow, that's really quite impressive. Even to like, if you were to show your mom, like your mom would be like, wow, that's pretty great, honey. Like he made something at that level, versus like your 4-second short that you spent all day on and it looks terrible. But Rob Dembleicher is one of the co-creators of Cyanide and Happiness. And when I got started, Cyanide and Happiness was their side project. It was a little thing on the side that was tiny, And now you look at it now, they're massive. Believe it or not, and this has been quoted online, I am responsible for Soulja Boy.
What?
Soulja Boy got his start.
What?
Soulja Boy got his start on Rock Hard Anims, which is the first website before Fluid Anims, which is why RHG is called RHG, because it's Rock Hard
yeah.
Gladiators. And people said, well, why didn't you make it Fluid Anims Gladiators when you made Fluid Anims? And just take 2 seconds and think about, if you take the first letter of each of those words, RHG into Fluid Anims Gladiator is just so much worse. So much worse.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, so I was like, no, RHG is its own
about
thing. Yeah, RHG is its own thing entirely. But back to Soulja Boy. He actually got his start in his following at Rock Hard Anims, which was the father to Fluid Anims, which was only in existence for about a year until I was getting boned by hosting a domain company, which was common back then because they were all just kind of scamming around. And I didn't have the wherewithal or knowledge on how to release a domain and get and acquire it through a different hosting platform. So I had to buy a new domain, which is what gave birth to Fluid Anims. But it is documented online. Soulja Boy got his helped build his following at rockhardanim's.com back when he was, and we used to have Skype calls with him, and he would talk about and his personality in real life back then was exactly how he was in real life. Just like, yo, man, hey, what's up, man? It's you, boy. Like, it's Soulja Boy. I'm out here doing it. Like, ain't nobody doing it like me, man. Like, he was just
on stage 24/7.
Yes, 100%. He was a salesman always. And he used to show us these videos, man, and they were cracking me up so bad. And I didn't realize they were not comedies. Like, he would show us, like, yo, man, check this out. This is me and my cousin. And it would show him, and he would be showing off a van, like a 1998 Ford van with, like, Walmart hubcaps in it that was definitely not even his. And he would be like, yo, check this out. It's got the 22s. We got this and that on them. And then he'd be like, yo, check this out. And he would go to his backyard where literally, like, his 6-year-old cousins were, like, playing volleyball, like barely hitting the ball, right? And it was coming over the net. I have a very distinct memory of this. It was coming over the net, and he has, like, the cameraman following him. He's like, yo, check this out. Hey, what up? And the ball's coming over the net, and he just jumps up and punches it like 300 yards into a field somewhere off in the distance. And and then both kids turn and look at him like, what the hell? And he's like, it's your boy.
It's your boy.
And we were dying laughing, like crying laughing, because we thought it was supposed to be a joke. He's like, what's up? What, man? And I'm like, what do you mean, what, man? How was that not a joke? And he's like, it's hype, dog. It's hype. I'm like, what? And then he's a millionaire. But
You know he streams on Twitch
whatever.
now?
That doesn't surprise me in the slightest bit. And fun fact, go look at Soulja Boy on Newgrounds, and you'll still find his stick figure animated Dragon Ball Z shorts that he made back in the day.
Oh yeah.
God damn.
Still watch those
But
to
he
this day.
did.
Yeah, he did. But yeah, a bunch of those weird nuggets like that, man. Then there's so much of it. There's so many of those weird. Smosh, you guys know Smosh, the entertainment moguls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually originally Smosh was a Flash animation website where people would go to download 3D models and sound effects for their animations, and they actually had quite a successful online Flash presence. It wasn't until their YouTube video where they did the Pokemon theme intro, and that went viral. And at that time, no one even thought YouTube was something like we kind of looked down on YouTube. You're like, well, you posted on something YouTube? Weird. Who cares? Like it wasn't a prominent thing. And then they kind of like quickly altered once that went viral, and they're like, oh, this is a thing. And then the whole website shifted away from Flash. It became like we're an entertainment thing, an entertainment like moguls on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got their start in Flash animation and 3D models that you would import from Blender from downloaded templates on their website.
That's crazy.
Damn.
Big things.
And now let's go ahead and smoothly transition that quick mention of streaming into the last subject.
Oh
Okay.
shoot, I forgot what that was about.
It was about dojo streaming,
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Doja
yes.
streams.
or just streaming in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for the longest time, the Dojo's Twitch channel was pretty much treated as my personal. Just like whenever I animate and I feel like streaming, I'd probably just stream. But yeah, I think Stone has trying to been like poking me a little bit about how to kind of carry the dojo community's Twitch presence to another level. And yeah, I don't know. That's just something that we've been talking about, and I feel like Stone has more experience with this kind of thing. But yeah, that's basically where the conversation led up to. Dojo streams not really have a direction right now, but I feel like it should, and we should work on it.
Right. I think it'd be really cool. I think that there's, especially with Animate coming up and Sierra's lore being fleshed out more, and people working on their duels, I think that having a more regular stream at Hyun Dojo would be really, really cool, especially now, like with all these new people joining in the realm of Twitch streaming. You've already got like this fantastic foothold in this wonderful community of people, and it could be a great place for people to not only just hang out in the Discord, but also dump their time into enjoying and hanging out on Twitch as well. And Twitch is also capitalizing on this move in, and I think they're incorporating a lot of new features that allow people to kind of like bring their viewers just a little bit closer. And I think in the next year or two, it'll be pretty interesting to see what moves and changes they see into the platform and how you can kind of reach out to your viewers even better.
Yeah. And like a good example of that was the Dojo Duels Q&A. We actually held that on as a Twitch stream, and it was a live Q&A, and it had all the members of the lore committee, and we were just answering questions for like 2 hours. Just answering questions.
Yeah,
There was
fantastic.
just questions, and like I honestly didn't think people would have questions because
Right.
I feel like I personally feel like Dojo Duels is very niche. has, even though we think it's pretty big, it is essentially pretty like a niche. What's
Subject.
it called? Yeah, subject. But
field,
we were literally just answering questions for 2 hours straight. It was pretty crazy. So
which is
Yeah, no,
fantastic.
I kind of expected that because sometimes I'll stream, and because I have a duelist, people will come to me and ask some questions like that's not a question for me. I don't know a whole lot about Dojo Duels other than the basic lore, how the system works, voting, and everything.
yeah, so that kind
But no.
of it really opened my eyes on having community kind of stream events, how much more engaging it can be, just compared to having just doing things on the website and the Discord. So yeah, just a thought process. Nothing really to announce, but just something to think about, and something that I really want to start kind of changing the dojo's Twitch page into something more official.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's
Anything
that.
else we want to say before we wrap it all up here?
Thanks for having me on. It feels good. Like I obviously have all this energy towards being in part of the community, and I want so desperately to work my way back in, and I'm constantly here, still keeping my finger on the pulse, watching what's happening, and just so I can kind of always, at any given moment, if the stars align, I can hit the ground running again and continue. And I hope I can get back to the point I was at a few months back before COVID, because that was like the dreamscape. It was like, okay, the store is
Everything was
functioning.
going just right.
I just like looked around the room and I'm like, back and forth. I'm like, we good? We're good? Okay. And then I like picked up my stylus and it's like, worldwide pandemic. Like, I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll put it back down. I'm sorry. Okay. I'll sell 10-cent cards. But yeah, I'm doing other things now, like in helping some of the people get their Twitch streams underway that can help potentially free me up some time once again to come back full force. And I typically, in my usual fashion, will probably be in a way of a tsunami. I go 110% at any time I jump back in, and even if I jump back in for like I think it was like a month. And even still, I was like, part of this, yep, part of this, yep, part of this, yep, let's do it. I'm like, I'm all in. So I hope to get to back to that very, very soon.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, I think this is about the end of the podcast. So thank you all for watching and/or listening. Feel free to subscribe if you want more podcasts like this.
Subscribe.
Anything you guys want to? Subscribe. Anything you guys want to shout out before we end it?
I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube.
Get him.
He
Yeah,
needs
boy.
it. He's desperate for it.
Get him.
He's a pretty small channel, you know.
You might, yeah, maybe someday. You'll get big someday. You never know.
Yeah.
I'm making my way up.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
All right.
that's it.
Thank you all for
See you
watching.
guys.
Yeah, and I will see you all in the next podcast. Goodbye.